have no idea what's coming next. And a lot of you, I could join with you. I don't really know either, except there are a number of things that are going to come in 5-minute segments for your enjoyment and or information. Connie Patterson will start it out, introducing the next person, and then whatever happens, the next person and the next person. So be prepared for a little bit of variety for the next 35 to 38 minutes. Can the podium be moved back? Probably not. It's pretty solid here. What you got in mind? Oh, well, they'll be up here. The people will be up here. They're not all going to hide back there. All of them want to be up here. No, that's not necessarily true. But so if you will give your attention to Connie at right now, and we're going to cover some financial information, perhaps ET information, perhaps a bunch of other things. So first of all is Connie Patterson of Houston, Texas, and now come the rest.
Hi. Is this working? Yes. I've had the privilege of knowing Alice Tomasello for about 3.5, 4 years, and I've watched the metamorphosis of her over that time period of having her be a person that astral travels and watching her come back and report what she's seen and observing the colored auras around people, and then stepping up that to being able to see inside of bodies and being overwhelmed with the intricacy of what she was seeing inside of bodies, whether it be the muscular structure or the vascular structure, vascular systems, the lymph system, and then she would be traveling into molecular and DNA, receptors, RNA. She can see all of this. She's a walking electron microscope, plus great research tool for mankind. There's other things about Alice that are quite unusual. She had not been in the metaphysical world at all until the last 3 or 4 years herself, and before that she had been a businesswoman and had been very hard and fast in the business community, owning several businesses, mergers and acquisitions, finance, very much in the high world of finance and structuring infrastructures of countries and city planning, many things like this. So she's very much a business person that's gone way into the light as a person that is one of our angels here on earth. She's experienced 3 death experiences, once as a baby, once when she was 19, and the most recent one at 32 when she was flatlined for about 4 minutes. And this time she made the promise to commit herself to the betterment of mankind and to give up her multi-millions for the betterment of mankind into a world trust that 450,000 other beings just like her who were multimillionaires contributed their funds to the world trust. And this is what is restructuring our financial environment for our future. We have pretty well got the Illuminati in check and almost checkmate at this point. I really thought we'd be through by now. I really thought we could give you dancing times right now. But it looks like we're going to drag on a little bit longer. Just like others have observed already, they're very fearful of letting go of their addiction to power. There's other speakers here that have mentioned that. That is very much what's happening. This is what's dragging things along. Can't force anything on anybody. They've got to do it from their own free will and their desire to survive and to be a part of us as equal brothers and sisters in this global community. We're not out to prosecute or bury or expose anybody, but to move forward with positive opportunities for all of us in the economic structures, the governmental, the social structures, religious structures, just everything will come into a state of purity. And it is making progress, even though we're still in the last throes of labor for this process. Alice Tomasello is a very gifted individual. She is one of our earth angels, and it'll be interesting to see what she'll talk about today in the way of global structures. But I know she will cover, first of all, some of the things that have to do with us as individuals and our light body parts, and have you have an even keener awareness of the light bodies that we are and what we can do to align ourselves to come into full balance step by step. And we have a team of people that have helped us along the way, and we want to introduce some of them and their contributions while we're up here. Thank you very much. Alice Tomasello. Okay, baby.
Hello. Okay, to make sure that we have a good time, because I'm trying to get the absolute purest frequency that each one of you would emanate, I think we're going to change the energy in the room. What do you think? To a little light feeling. So how many of you heard Bambi last night? Come here, Bambi. Bambi's going to sing a song for us. How about that?
Could we have number 13 on, please? Hi. How are you? Make it a little bit peppy. How's that? This is an original song. It's called Too Amazing. A little louder, please. Middle of the night. We're too amazing. Yeah. Living a dream, I've been needing to find your love like a picture in the eyes of my mind. Coming with now to a place we can play, to making away. Come on, come on, come on. In the middle of the night, amazing, like the fire in your eyes. Gotta be real, it's alright. Alright, the night. The night one went to you, so into me. It's like forever, it's the way it should be. Telling me no, don't take my hand. Well, at your command. Come on, come on, come on.
Because I'll tell you, trying to do everything by yourself, it's a real drag. So the next speaker I have is Anne Marie. You heard her earlier. And so now we're going to do a little breathing technique. Okay? Everybody want to do that?
Everybody really
Okay, and Pat
really-
Hendricks went to her class, so she's going to assist over here. Come over here, Pat. And here we go.
Everybody really ready to open up those iron bands of your ribs and let your lungs open and let your aura begin to breathe you. Everybody stand up. The very first thing we're going to do is open up our solar plexus. Tilt your rib cage back, your breastbone back. Open up your solar plexus. Your thumbs are facing into your body. We're going to make a series of snow angels. And we're going to use our lungs as a massage tool to open up all the acupressure and meridian points inside of our rib cage as we're using our hands to stretch our body. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to imagine our lungs. We're going to do one breath. Normally we do 3 each place. We're going to do 1 each place. So follow along. Imagine your lungs reaching up to the top of your shoulders as you just roll your thumbs out like this. Rest as you exhale. Imagine your thumbs, your lungs reaching out to your breasts as you stretch. The lungs stretching down into the abdomen. The lungs reaching down into the hips, the pelvic cradle. Imagine your lungs reaching down to touch your tippy toes, even though we know they can't. Energetically, they do. Your lungs reaching back up to the top of your shoulders as you really go high. Rest with your hands as you let your lungs gently open up your back ribs. Feel your lungs reaching out to massage your spine and your back ribs, which is opening up the back side of your heart. And please be seated. We're going to take 3 breaths each into the sacred pyramids that live within your body and open up the golden orb of light. Activate the 3 sacred pyramids that you have been carrying inside of your body your entire lifetime. They are triangulated pieces of cartilage which have the ability to span the dimensions. The first one is at the top of your spine, and it is called the Atlas. So feel your lungs reaching up to your Atlas for the next 3 breaths. As your matrix begins to spin, you will actually feel some of you are familiar with touch, will feel your aura begin to breathe you. Next 3 breaths, imagine the lungs reaching down to the tailbone, the second sacred pyramid grounding you into the core of the earth. That first pyramid opened you up to universal consciousness in the heart of the Creator. The second one, 3 breaths down to the core of the earth. The third one is at the front of your breastbone. It is called the xiphoid process. It's located right here, just above the solar plexus. 3 breaths out to this pyramid, which literally reconnects your soul to the essence of all that is and allows your higher self to re-enter totally and completely into your body. And then rest in the peace and go right into the center of your heart as your highest self totally and completely enters in to your body, into your arms, down to your fingertips, into your legs, down to your toes, into your head, and allow the golden light of your heart to radiate out to the world and just be in this space of peace as a conduit of energy from the universe to the earth and out to all that is. Thank you.
Okay, what'd you think about that? Do you like that? We're thinking about doing a little workshop with that tonight, laying down on the floor for 45 minutes, breathing through some cool music. How many of you might be interested in doing that? You raise your hand. Breathing, you lay on the floor and you breathe. You know what it happens? You get rid of all this dead cells, cellular memory that holds you down. There's a whole science on it. I'm not the only one to do this, but we're going to do it tonight and bring together some people who actually do it ongoing. Different techniques. I think it'll be interesting. So if you're interested, sign up at the front. So the next person I want to introduce you to is Karen McCoy. Karen McCoy does astrology. So when we're getting ready to do a global play, and I want a confirmation where the planets are, I call Karen McCoy. And so she's going to give us a picture of where we're at. And she's having a workshop, too, on Monday. Karen McCoy.
Thank you. I'm just here to set the stage of what's going on astrologically. There's something very wonderful that's going on right now, and it happens every 29.6 years, and it's sometimes a little bit frightening at the same time. It's called Saturn in Gemini. When Saturn's in Gemini, the infrastructure begins to break down on the planet, because 2.5 years later, when it moves into the sign of Cancer, is when we rebuild our infrastructure on the planet. Well, Saturn moved into Gemini last August. It stayed in there for a couple of months, then came back out, went back into Taurus, and then came back into Gemini in May. And Saturn always affects big business. It affects the economy. It affects world leaders. It affects our government. The last time Saturn was in Gemini, we made a wonderful choice. That was in 1971, 72, and 73. At that time, we impeached a president. Richard Nixon was in office then. So we stepped forward as a human race on this particular continent, and we said, we're going to hold you accountable for your word. We're going to hold you responsible for what you say you're going to do. And we took an action. Now, why it's so important to understand this is because the time before that, when Saturn was in Gemini, was 1942, 43, and 44, and we had World War II. The time before that was 1913, 1914, and 1915. We had World War I. And so we were sheeple until 1971. This does not mean that we are no longer sheeple, but a big enough majority of us has decided to wake up and not to be sheeple any longer. So we set a pattern that started in 1971, 72, and 73 that's coming to fruition now. It is the end of that cycle, and we're breaking down the last residues of the old infrastructure. So government leaders are a little bit frightened and a little confused right now. We need to hold a real conscious thought of what we want them to do, what we want in our lives. We have to be real responsible for what we're thinking, because Gemini rules the spoken word, our mental thoughts, and the written word. So it's time for us to all be responsible for our thoughts, our ideas, what we communicate, what we put on paper, how we treat one another. Because as we're breaking down the end of this, what we let go of now makes room for what we want to build in the new infrastructure.
Thank you. So just exactly how do we accomplish the task of breaking down the infrastructure fast? How do we bring ourselves into alignment, spirit, mind, and body? How do we get rid of the diseases that we have? How can we do that? We can either watch another wave of new equipment and technology come that we all want to take advantage of because it's easier and it's faster. It's just a continuation of that strategy and attitude of let's take a pill. What it? 1950, let's take a pill. Because Lord knows if you take herbs, it takes 8 days to work. But the fact that you don't have a relapse or the fact that you're not going to have a problem later on, another disease, you know, that part of the ad campaign hasn't caught up with us yet. But there are a lot of people who do herbs here and enzymes here well. I'm very proud to see what I've seen so far. So I was looking for a way of how do I help people come into alignment, spirit, mind, and body faster. You see, I could have gone into finance because I know a lot of things, or I could have gone into equipment building because I know a lot of things. You know, I can look through a piece of equipment without opening the cover with a screwdriver and telling you what's inside. Can you imagine how much money I could make selling this talent? But I didn't want to do that. I already did that. You know, exploit, I already did that. So my commitment is to the human being. How can I help human beings come into alignment so we can be healthier? And here's the deal. Every single human being emits a frequency. And that frequency reaches and changes things for you. And so instead of carrying around problems in your body that you were born with, perhaps from another lifetime, or some diseases, or a DNA that has been a gene that is damaged. You don't know about it yet. You know, there are a lot of things we can do about things that have happened to our family that we think we might get, like your aunt had cancer, your mother had cancer, your dad had cancer. That doesn't mean you have to have cancer. You know, or defective bones or arthritis and all of those things. That doesn't mean you have to have it too. We have a lot of ways to get rid of that now. So I set about on how can we solve these problems faster. So I was looking for an invention that would bring us to the speed of thought. Do you know how fast that is? When you get to the speed of thought, which is where Star gets to, without tools, she just does it. Is Star even in here? She's somewhere. Well, anyway. So now we have the technology part. Because we have some humans that want to do everything themselves, and we have some humans that want to do it with equipment. We have some humans that want to put lots and lots of effort into it every day, and we have some humans who don't want to spend any time whatsoever because it's cutting into their pleasure time. Do you understand what I'm saying? So this is how we get a market and consumers. It's driven by, what is the easiest way to do it? Not the best way, the easiest way. So I thought, okay, well, if we could have the best way and the easiest way in one piece of equipment, wouldn't that be really cool? All right, so I'm looking at myself. I'm almost 50 years old. What does that mean? That means I'm going to be tireder, according to what I see, but it doesn't have to be, but right now that's how it's looking. So I was trying to figure out how can I cure myself, heal myself, keep myself healthy with minimal amount of effort, like laying down, like listening to music, like breathing. Exercise is not my deal. I don't like to work out. Sticking to a diet, it's not my deal. I don't have that much control. So there are a lot of things I don't like to do, but I do like to lay down, and I do like to listen to music. So it's like, God, I just need a little help here. And like with every single person that's come across my path, Sandra Michael comes. And lo and behold, what does she have? She has a way to get to the speed of thought while I lay down and listen to music. Works for me. So I want her to tell you about her invention, Sandra Michael.
Thank you, Alice. Yeah, everybody take a real deep breath again. Breathing in all the love of the entire universe, all the energy you could possibly want or need. Breathe it in, let it in. What would it be like if you could have all the energy you could possibly want or need to do anything and everything you could possibly want or need to do here now, to be able to fulfill the perfections of all of your highest purposes and your ever being here on this planet in the first place? Would it be okay? Can you just take some real deep breaths? Live people breathe, dead people don't. Now which side you on? We tried to get you moving and breathing here, and maybe we'll bring Bambi back up and get you a little more excited again. Okay, so breathing love. I want you to breathe that love through every cell, every particle, every tissue of your being. Let every cell know and remember the power of the truth of that love of your being here now. And breathing light and knowing you can let go of anything and everything that you no longer need, that no longer serves you in your highest purposes in being here now. And how would it be if you could really let it all go now and get on with what you're here for? No more excuses, no more denials, no more withholds. You're here on this planet, at this time, in these bodies, on purpose. You might as well really be here now to fulfill that perfection of all of your highest purposes in your being here now. How would it be if you could really relax into that place within yourself of total knowingness of who you are, the sacredness of your body, who you are, all that you are, and all that you're here for now, and fulfill your highest purposes. It's time to change the world at the speed of thought. So we've developed technology. I've been working with some of the top scientists in the world. I just met the man that headed up the Genome Project, related to Einstein. He was very skeptical of our technology originally. He's very excited about it now. We're going to be working closely with him. I've been working, we've developed the Metamatrix Nutri-Chamber technologies. We do have information at our table on it. And I also want to thank Christine. Christine was here earlier. She's one of our installation, heads of installation, but we also, would you stand up, Rebecca? Okay, this is Rebecca Harrell. She is heading up, the project coordination for getting the chambers around the world, as far as coordinating it. Yes, Metamatrix Nutri-Chamber Technologies have been recently releasing the clinicals. We've had first clinicals done. I've been working with Dr. Victor Marcial Vega, who was supposed to be here and couldn't make it. but he'll be here hopefully for the next conference. Dr. Victor Marcial Vega called me up. He had heard about our technologies from somebody that had met us at the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine last year. He had heard about it. He called me up and said, wow. He says, I'm in the top 1% of credentials of MDs in the entire US. I've worked with the senators and the congressmen, testified before Congress multiple times. And I've cured myself of AIDS. He says, that's the big credential. He said, do you have anybody with my credentials who's volunteering to head up your research on this technology? The technology that we've brought forward is probably the most significant advancement for accelerating conscious intent and taking people's bodies. If every cell had the energy to do everything they really want to do, how would it be? Every heart cell could really be the fullness of that heart cell energy. Every part, every tissue. So he's been validating. We do have tapes back on our table in the back that were Victor's first findings. He's been doing clinical research for us. And at the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine in July, he did an 1 hour and 15 minutes presentation just on our technology to a group of 10,000 doctors. We have doctors now, MDs, putting in the MetaMatrix NutriChambers all over the world. And we can't get them out quick enough. So we're also asking for your support in getting this technology. It's got to go as quick as possible to change the world at the speed of thought. It's a scalar wave technology. It's a programmable scalar wave. So thought waves are scalar waves. And it's a way of getting the intention linked around the globe. Basic intention is fulfillment of highest potential in divine plan. A true alignment with best and highest interest. Alignment. And if you take a deep breath again, let yourselves be aligned by the light, with the light, as the light, and higher power of all the divine powers within you now. And relax into that place of power, and feel that power within you. You're unlimited. You have access to unlimited power, infinite intelligence, should you choose to accept it now. The chambers are a way of linking people very, very, very directly and immediately to that place of cellular knowing, where every cell has access to the infinite intelligence, and you can just know all that there is to know. We are opening up a chamber in Boulder that'll be available. And Rebecca can take appointments now for anybody who wants to experience the technologies and book your own sessions for your own time in the chamber. Very, very profound results. We do have copies of some of the clinicals. It's also on a website. Let me give you a couple websites. One is sandramichael.com. Another one is NutriChamber, N-U-T-R-I, chamber.com. And we also have Victor Marcial Vega's site, which is Health Horizons. That's 2 H's in there. Health Horizons dash or hyphen inc, I-N-C, .com. It's cutting in and out. healthhorizons-inc.com, and he's got clinicals on that. So lots of exciting stuff happening. Also going into the studios in Amsterdam, getting ready to cut CDs and with Bambi. Did everybody like? Yeah. Yeah, and I have more to share. Hopefully we'll share more.
Share more. Thank you. Thank you very much, Sandra. All right, what's the total number of minutes we have left? 5 minutes and 16 seconds. All right, show of hands. You want to see what I do with bodies? Or do you want to hear about the world situation? Well, I only got... All right, we're going to go 3 minutes on the world and 3 minutes on what I see, because what I see may just take a few minutes. All right, so you imagine this, you know? I wake up one day and I can see inside bodies. You know, I just thought I was insane. It's not every day you wake up and you can look down and you see your heart pounding and you can see the blood running through. That was a real awakening for me. I knew absolutely beyond a shadow of a doubt I was not in control. Everything I ever knew, because my whole world was finance, putting deals together, buying and selling money. That's all I knew. I didn't know anything about all the spiritual stuff. But I was real busy being successful. Real busy. I'm one of those people that helped put it all together. You know, all these things called roll programs. You ever heard of a roll program? That's where I borrow your money. It's an investment, legitimate investment, and then I give it to her, but I keep $1. And I give it to her, you give it to her, and so on and so on and so on. And now we have 10 to 20 pieces of paper that all represent that same dollar, except for each one of them is worth $1. So we put at one actual dollar in, and 19 aren't any good. Now our world has been operating like that. They call it the Federal Reserve, they call it the U.S. Treasury, they call it bonds, they call it stocks. You know, there's a lot of names, there's lots of names. So, because I was in moving money, I knew exactly how all that stuff got started and exactly where to go find it to fix it. And I wasn't the only one. There's millions of us. Because the game is, from within we will conquer. Otherwise, we'd have our loaded guns and we'd be throwing people in jail and doing all this stuff, just like they did. We cannot bring peace to the world by being aggressive, right? Now, Gandhi's approach didn't work out too well because, like, he died. You know, he was a cool guy, but something happened to him on the way. So we didn't have enough security forces to keep him alive. So we had to look at, you know, what happens to all these people when they begin to talk. That's kind of it. But you might have to take the long route, you know, a little torture here, a little whatever, brainwashing here, and let's ruin your credit, and let's throw you in jail, and stuff like that. So it's an unfair game, or is it? How many of y'all believe in karma? How many of you believe in dharma? How many of you do you believe stuff happens, just happens? Okay. So it's all the same belief, it's all the same frequency, but we have different words. This is another problem with our society right now. We have all these words for the same thing. For instance, if you go down to the bank and you take out a loan, they make you fill out papers, right? And you sign your name saying, I'll pay this back someday, right? Okay. But if you get your money from the black ops, you know what the black ops is, don't you? That's like this other pot of money that we use to manipulate the world with, but we're not telling anybody yet, that kind of money. That's where the roll programs go. That's where the Federal Reserve took its notes. That's why the Federal Reserve went bankrupt. That's why the Federal Reserve is afraid to tell everybody they went bankrupt, because when they do, all of a sudden those same companies that feed you, clothe you, and transport you are going to have to go out of business because they don't have any money either, and then what are we going to do? Huh? You see, it's a catch-22. We've allowed these companies, these corporations, to bring us to a point that the average small farmer that would normally give us food down the road, they're out of business. And we're so dependent on getting in our car, going somewhere, because Lord knows we live 20 miles away from where we work because we want to live out in the country. But between the point you work and the point you live, you're going to pollute the whole way. But if you don't have any gas, it's not a problem. And if we have an alien ship land, and I hear, get this, there's this whole group of people that went before Congress. These are legitimate types. I mean, these are the generals and the admirals and the colonels, and these are actual people who picked up alien people and who disposed of alien craft and took care of all of this stuff. They went to Congress. They swore allegiance because they believe in the Constitution. They really do, and I do too. It seems to me that if you had 300 people show up to tell our Congress, hey, now part of my job that was in secret, but now that my time has elapsed, you know, my secrecy code, it's gone because my 30 years is up. Now I can talk, and y'all won't kill me because national security can't intervene. So they do finally talk, and they tell Congress about what has happened. Now you would think that Congress would have taken a little action. What happened? Did y'all hear about aliens? Has anybody connected up to these corporations, all this advanced technology they just happened to come up with, like transistor radios? Where'd that come from? And it goes on, and the list is long, and I don't have to re-educate y'all because you're already there. And all we're saying to the alien is, look, you cut a deal with a few individuals, it didn't work out for you, okay? So now you can cut a deal with lots and lots of frequencies, make all the deals you want for the betterment of mankind. Well, here's the cool thing. If planet Earth does not survive, in other words, we got this little green hole going on. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, ozone. I knew there was a word. All right, so all of a sudden we keep polluting. We got all this pollution going on. You see, so we're the main manufacturers of pollution, so we're not real concerned about it because we'll just take over another country, right? And we'll just start over again. We'll take our investments over there and we'll just get it started. We'll call it the United States of, what, Timbuktu. This has been our strategy. But last week and the week before, actually it's been 45 days, this is what's happened. A miracle has happened. Got 185 countries. 176 of them, 178 of them all got together and decided to put some meat into the environmental agreements. And all it really says is, okay, you can come to my country, you can invest, you can build, but you got to get along and you have to comply with the environmental protection group. You have to come into conformance. So if you put a manufacturing plant here and you think you're going to pollute, wrong. You can put up the budget to clean it up or get out. Now, these countries are going to do the same thing that the Federal Reserve did. And why not? Federal Reserve prints money here and there. They got all these notes. There's not any collateral behind them, so country's going to put their natural assets behind it. Why not? It's worked for us. But what do you think is going to happen to the United States of America when these 178 countries all decide to kick out the Americans and give them a worthless piece of paper just like the Federal Reserve has been passing along? Where's that going to leave us? Here's the good news. They're willing to accept the most advanced technology. They're willing to accept the most advanced technology in medicine, in science, in transportation, in communication, and everything else. Everything that is represented in this room, in those booths, and among you people, including myself, they're going, let's go. And you know what? If we wouldn't have had somebody like Dean Stonier and his wife putting up with him, we wouldn't have this forum. So that's Dean. So I'm going to do a 1-minute presentation on what do I see, and here we go. It's going to be quick. You turn off the big lights. Hurry up, we only got 1 minute. Okay, can you see this? What? It's just a little skeletal system, right? When I look at you, any one of you, and I'm beginning to take a look at what it is that you need help on, I'll only see this. If you have a bone problem, a bone marrow problem, this is all I see. I don't see any skin. I just see this. All right, so if your problem happens to be the muscular system, this is all I'll see. Next. Come on, Connie. Whew. Look at these organs. Can you imagine? Sometimes when I meet people, this is all I see. I mean, it's real trippy when you're doing lunch. Okay, come on. But it really helps me to get down to the point exactly what is your problem. Come on, Connie. Here's that cardiovascular system. I really like this one. And you know what? Anytime you've ever fallen down, somebody has touched you, a memory encodes, and this is where it starts, right here. When I look at a person, and I've looked at several people here, this is where I start looking if I can see it. So if I cannot see this, I know it's a very old problem, normally in childhood. Do you understand what I'm saying? No? All right, so let's say I'm looking at a problem with a person that has a knot right here, and I see the knot only because the frequency will flow around it. I'll begin to look into the blood, the actual blood system, so I can identify what is the problem. This is the nervous system. This is the electrical. Now, can you imagine? How many of y'all have ever had a car rewired at a mechanic place? Did it work? You ever take your car in to get like your air conditioner fixed, you keep taking it back and it just won't work? And they work with an electrical harness. An electrical harness might have 12 strands of wire. So when you go into a hospital and some kind of a surgeon's trying to work on you, and they're dealing with this, you have any idea how many miles of strands this is? So you wonder why we can't, get to the quick cure? Well, here it is. Every single point on every single one of these wires has a memory. So, when you try to get yourself into alignment, spirit, mind, and body, you're dealing with lots of stuff. But this is how we diagnose we're going to work on someone. It's all right. Okay, so normally when I meet someone, this is what I see right here. You're healthy, you're breathing, you're in your truth. You look like this. You're not living in your truth. Something is going to be different, and I can easily see that. And here's the good news. Every single person in this room can see this. You just don't know that you can see it yet because you can't access your DNA yet. But the minute you can access your DNA, and every single one of us has it, you'll be able to see this. Can you imagine what would happen if you could see this? How easy it would be to help someone or listen to them or accept what they're saying because you could see it in the body. Because these things, when you're not telling the truth, those little circles, this is fun. Each one of these circles will vibrate. And they vibrate with broken lines going in and out. Eventually, our society, everybody on this planet, will see this. It's simply a matter of accessing your DNA. How much time do I have? Okay. And so the last deal in transition, when you have reached, you absolutely reached, you are working within your next dimension. You are truly connected to your spirit. You look like this when I meet you. And so when I say hello to you, some of y'all this year, and I can't remember your names, I remember your frequency. I remember this picture, next picture. And this, when love is totally shared, unconditional love, altruistic love, and joy, when I look at you, this is what you look like. There isn't anything else. This is what Dean Stonier looks like. So there you have it. We got all these points. I've managed to have a group of people sent forward to me. We've managed to work on proven studies on how to bring a person into alignment with himself very quickly so they can avoid diseases and whatever else they've had throughout their lifetimes. And in terms of the global situation, wait till it's August 15th is the next move date. We're hoping the Federal Reserve will retire. We are hoping that we can move on with implementation of a global plan. And if the Federal Reserve does not retire, then hold on for September 15th. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Dean Stonier.